Well, thank you very much, Sean, and Dick and Eric as well. I really want to thank you guys for all you've done for me. It's really, I think, about being an MPE member. It's really about taking action. So that's the theme of my story tonight. When I was hearing from all the success stories that MPE members were having when I was about a year ago, I remember getting this stuff and thinking, man, I'm a loser. I can't believe this. These guys are cashing in 40 grand, 50 grand a month. Oh, man. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys might be thinking some of that tonight if you're new to MPE or just here and thinking, I can't do that type of stuff. Well, I'm here to tell you I was that guy. And the other thing I was thinking about the other day, too, in preparation for this, I was thinking about the clients that I really love training. I mean, these are the clients that I brag about when I tell somebody what I do. And it's always the ones that come into my mind were the reclamation projects. The people that came to me, and they were in pain, they were insecure, they were unhealthy, they were confused, scared, cynical. And then they saw people like you and I, and we transformed their lives. You know, after they saw us and went through our services, they were confident, they were happy, they were healthy again, they felt empowered, and they were optimistic. So I really feel like I've been that transformation person and on the business sense, as a business owner. So that's my story, and that's what I want to tell you a little bit more about tonight. So about October of 2007, I certainly was that client, that person that was unhappy and cynical and certainly wasn't a good way. But I realized there was a key that I needed to focus on. It was about seeking expert advice and taking action. And there was a big turning point in October, roughly around October 2007. I was training a client of mine, and I heard this beautiful, familiar little voice running down the hall and appeared around the corner of my studio. It was my little daughter, my 1.5-year-old, coming running to see me. And right behind her was my beautiful wife, beaming with excitement. And this is pretty special. I live about 45 minutes from where my studio is, not too far from here in Beverly, Mass. And they usually don't stop by unannounced. So I knew something big was going on. And my wife proceeded to announce to me in her typical candor and everyone within about 100 feet of us that she was pregnant with our second child. And typically when you hear news like that, you're just so excited about the miracle that's going to happen. Sadly, the reality was that wasn't my emotion. I was scared. And I wasn't scared because of the typical, worried about being a father stuff. I was scared because my career was not going to support having a growing family. I was scared because I didn't think I'd be able to attend to my family responsibilities with the schedule I was currently doing. And when I should have been happy, when I should have been excited, I was scared and worried about my damn business. And something had to change. So just to give you guys a state of the affairs from Mike Stair and Spectrum Fitness Consulting in October 2007, easily I was working 60 hours a week. That was what I was scheduled for. And if I bothered to even do the math at that point, I'm sure it was more. About 60% of my time was seeing clients, and 40% of the time was seeing patients, still holding on to some patients in my physical therapy practice. And no percent of the time was spent working on the business. I was a one-man show. What would happen is clients would come to see me, pay their fee for that one session. I had no idea if they were coming back or not. I would schedule them right after their session. It really was a mess, and I didn't even see it. I just took cash or credit or check, no credit card, no EFT. When I was really cranking at that time, it was about 4 to 8 grand per month. It was pretty abysmal. My marketing really consisted of every now and then when I got the chance to actually collect my thoughts, I'd do a seminar in my little studio. Maybe I'd get a newsletter out at midnight sometime when I had a clear thought. And fortunately, I had some patients that referred to me. My contact list was about 300 people. I wasn't happy, and I was desperately missing my wife and my family, and just feeling guilty about neglecting my family responsibilities. Here, about a year and a half before, I'd given up my physical therapy career, which is very stable. It wasn't going to provide me the long-term financial freedom I wanted, but I'd abandoned that so I could do what I was really passionate about and what my vision was. And here, at this point in time, it certainly wasn't being realized. So I realized I had to do one major thing. I had to get rid of the head trash. When Sean talked about that, I was like, man, that guy's channeling my thoughts here. I got a bunch of garbage in my head, and I really got to get rid of it. I had a great plan as to what would happen if my business failed. I had a couple intricate fallback mechanisms with my PT practice, or the partners I was with. But I didn't have an intricate plan about how I was going to succeed. What was going to happen when things won, when I actually improved the business issues. And the other issue, I had to lose the ego. Here I am. I had a doctorate degree in physical therapy, fellowship education. I thought, heck, I'm a smart guy. I'll figure this out. Well, that's just stupid. You don't know anything in PT school about how to run a business, and it's just arrogant to think that way. So I had to, get a little craniotomy, take the garbage out, and focus on taking some action, and certainly get some help. So in 2007, I became a gold member, not to be confused with the gold member. And for that reason alone, I upgraded to Gold Plus because I didn't want to be gold member anymore. I went into auto closer, and that again, I felt like I was the runt of the class here. These guys are complaining, yeah, I have my third studio, and my 12th trainer is quitting. How do I revamp my sales process? I'm like, are you kidding me? I felt like I was learning how to do algebra, and I just went into Princeton's actuarial science program. But nonetheless, I didn't get overwhelmed. I decided, I got to change some things. So I changed my offerings to packages, revelation, but it was pretty big for me. And I just revamped and systemized the sales process. So as part of joining Gold Plus in 2007, they got this great thing, this great promotion, this Gold Rush thing. I said, cool, I can get some gold right now. That's great. So I decided right away I was going to run this Gold Rush thing no matter what. And it thoroughly kicked my ass, to be honest. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I went to college for 7 years, and I worked full-time all the way through it. This was harder. And the reason why is because I was, working 60-plus hours seeing patients and clients. I had no time to do any of this stuff. I think I slept on average about 2 hours a night for that month of January. And similar to the perils that Connor was discussing, I think we were having the same luck going on right around the same day. I got all these people ready for Gold Rush in spite of my ineptitudes and all the technological issues. And had 70 people line up to go, and 26 showed up because 18 inches of snow showed up as well. In spite of that, we were able to turn $11,000 in profit out of that. So now I had some money, and I was going to spend it. So I went into Duplicator. And I knew I needed to figure out how the heck to get my house in order, and that was beautiful. And the first thing they said is hire an assistant. And I was like, nah, come on, that's what the big boys are doing. How about me? Hire an assistant. So I did, and that was great. And then I hired a trainer, and next thing you know, I'm reducing my hours training and treating, and started working on the business. March was a great month for me. I couldn't believe I won the Duplicator contest. I mean, here I am thinking I'm the runt of the group here, and then apparently my story was good enough to win the contest. I did the Raise the Rates campaign. I got that just from one of Eric's newsletters, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Charge more, and that's a campaign. And I was like, wow, I could have written that one, Eric, but it was brilliant in simplicity. I didn't think about it. I said, okay, that's what Eric says, and I'm going to do it, and I did, and we got $27,000 coming in that month. And I was like, this is amazing. This stuff really works. And so now I'm thinking, okay, well, how do I know when to grow? And one of the key things to Duplicator is track your percent capacity. Once you're at this critical level, then you need another trainer. And we did, and 2 weeks later, we've been running at 85, 90%. So we hired yet another trainer. And then I realized this poor admin girl, it was working for me, was as sweet as can be, but she said, Mike, you're running me into the ground here, and I can't work full time. And I said, great, I love you, but I got to get someone that can do that. So I did. I hired a full-time admin assistant, and she's just been a blessing. And then I did my phone consult with Dick, and it was one of those sage-wise, advice calls. And I was asking these complex questions. I said, so exactly what delineation of my time do I need working on the business and in the business? Throwing out my Michael Gerber speak. And thinking, he's going to tell me, well, it needs to be exactly this percentage. He answers my question with a question. He goes, Mike, what are you in this for? What are you doing this for? And I sat and thought, I said, well, I want to be able to provide for my family and do something I love. So I decided that night I'm going to write down exactly what my schedule is going to be I'm going to write down exactly what I'm going to be doing. And I imagined if I had a $3 million, this is what my schedule was going to be. And so I did that. I'm going to get back to that later on. So in the spring, that's really when the action cycle kept going. I decided to commit to writing a newsletter fairly regularly. I converted my dopey Outlook database to ACT, and that was huge. I did my own 3-letter sequence, which I still to this day, I don't think I'll ever show Eric because he'll make fun of me about it. It was awful, but it still pulled. So, and I started doing another brilliant thing that I learned from MPE, which, hey, ask for testimonials. I had never done that. In physical therapy, we didn't ask for testimonials. We just treated people and moved on. And it was a great idea, and I started asking, and people started really validating what we were doing, and it's great marketing fodder. I made a trainer and admin manual, which is huge, because I had to take the reins away and give them to someone that I wasn't sure was going to do the same job I was going to do. Are they going to connect to the clients the same way and develop the same high level of treatment? So I made sure I made the manual that would lay out exactly what they needed to do. And I did the same for my admin. I made a trainer checklist so that every single time they're seeing a client, at least I know they're doing this and that and the other exactly the way I wanted it. And I made sure that for myself and my admin that we had a task list. Every morning on Monday, I know exactly what I'm doing for that week. And that has been something that my wife still makes fun of me about. She thinks that on there is also brush teeth at this time, go bathroom at this time. And it's almost that detailed. That's a whole other story. So later on in the spring, we did a regular review of our sales and marketing reports. Again, there was barely any sales and marketing before. Now we're starting to do that. We started to have weekly admin and manager meetings. And then we took a page out of the Coach Barry book, which is make group training a better part of what you're doing. We had a module on that in the spring, and so I said, well, for the summer months, I'm going to get a youth athlete development program going. I'm going to get an adult small group program going. And we launched that. Fortunately, a group of physicians contacted me and said, we have a whole bunch of people who are obese, who have high cholesterol. We just need to give them some education. Can you do something? I said, yes. I made a workshop program, and they do all the marketing. And all they do is every 16 weeks they say, we got 8 more people who want to be in your program. And they just keep falling in. So that was another thing I created. I hosted a mini seminar, and I started securing speaking engagements for the fall and for the winter way ahead of time. And then I went well into the 21st century, away from just taking everything by cash and checks, and decided I'd do credit cards and EFT payments. Again, seemingly obvious stuff. I went into SwiftPage and then the drip marketing to integrate with ACT, and that's going to be a huge thing for our business. We did what I kind of refer to amongst our trainers as rounds. That's another thing that's emphasized in Duplicator. I do rounds on our clients. So in the medical community, when you're trying to get familiar with everyone, all the patients, every morning you do rounds. Well, we do that with our clients. And that has really brought the love of our service way, way up. And that was a huge suggestion from Duplicator. I got a flip video to start getting some testimonials captured on video. And this is a great story. I got a joint venture with a massage therapist. And here it is in September, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm laying on a massage table, getting a massage. My studio is making money. I'm arranging a deal to leverage time in the future to get money. And then I'm going to go home at 4 o'clock. I just couldn't stop laughing throughout the massage because I said, you should have seen what I was doing a year ago. So that was a fun little moment of Zen for me. And then we did, another thing we decided to do is a weekly prospect review meeting. Through ACT and teaching my admin, every week we have a whole list of prospects, hot, cold, and other, and we just go through all the actions accordingly. So that's been a huge, huge thing. Later in the summer, we did Gold Rush 2, our second version of Gold Rush. And this was a big success. The revenue is modest, but it was only a few weeks ago. We're still capitalizing on some of that, and it's still growing. But we actually have 3 new joint ventures for next Gold Rush. People found out about it, and we got a lot of publicity from it. And I got people who have lists, and they actually communicate with them. One's a plastic surgeon, one is an acupuncturist, and the other is a kind of like a dietitian. They contacted me and said, I want to be a part of what you're doing. So I'm already locked up for January for this, just from last Gold Rush. And I want to give you a little bit of an idea what the publicity we got. We got a front page article on our local newspaper. And I'm just going to have to switch to this thing real quick. So that's my mug there. And Jed, this guy lost about 40 pounds of body fat. He's pretty funny. He goes, well, I finally got my ass in the paper. And he did. So it's a little bit of the rest of the story. And it continues on. And this guy really did a really good job. And he's going to be a client of ours accordingly. I'm all set with that. So we also hired a third trainer, and we started getting busy, so I said, let's get a third trainer who's also a nutritionist. And we decided that since we're growing a little bit, I still wanted to make sure our trainers were getting everything that they needed to make sure that they could keep up with our high level of service. So we decided to do our own Train Better seminar. It's an in-house training program that we're doing to make sure our trainers are up to speed. And we're also going to start getting CEU credits for that so they can earn CEUs by working with us. So here's me in Spectrum Fitness Consulting now. This is the transformation. I have a new schedule now. And right now I'm seeing about 10 hours of clients, including consultations, sales consultations. I still see some patients, about 10 hours a week. And about 20 hours or plus, or minus, depending on the week, I'll work on the business. Our revenue is about $14,000 to $24,000 a month now. We have over 700 contacts. In addition to myself, we have 3 trainers, 1 full-time admin. We've diversified our services so our products aren't just solely linked to one-on-one. We have a lot of groups and various tiers of services. Most importantly, I'm happy. I really, truly am happy with how things are going. We have a solid foundation that we can build on, and I know exactly where I'm going. And that's something I couldn't even articulate in any way in 2007. But there's much more action. In a couple weeks, we're going to be enrolling in Deep Core. And when I first was reading all the great results that Eric had from his marketing products, I remember thinking in 2007, I can't use this. What happens if I do get 20 leads a week? I can't service it. Well, now I can, and I have the system to be able to do that. I'm going to stop seeing patients, actually, because this new growth has demanded more of my time. And I don't have any more of that focus time anymore. It's just putting out fires. So I cleared 2 days a week that I'll have now new focus time. We're going to get another trainer coming up in a couple months. We got this big Gold Rush coming up planned for January. Hopefully I'm going to redo the website. And I'm going to take my little princesses at Disneyland, Disney World. So that's a luxury I wasn't able to afford before. And hopefully if you guys are so kind, I'd love to take a trip to North Carolina too. These are my little pumpkins. When Dick asked what I was working for, this is it. To be happy, to provide for them, and to spend more time with them. That's Bella, the oldest, and Maddie's the new addition. So I really want to thank you all. Thank you for some of the great conversations I've had already and sharing a lot of the great information. And again, thank you to MPE.